Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new video from yamparalamedia. I'm your host Rahul, and in this video I will be describing a framework or a process that every UX designer or in general any designer who is starting a project should definitely check out and follow, so that they don't need to do iterative work or they should not be deviating from the project, and there should be no unsatisfaction either for the client or for yourself. So if you want to save that process and thing, you can go on to my website, which is yamparal.design, and if you click on about me, you will direct to this page. If you go down, you can see the design process. So I have clicked on it, and this is a overall view of what the design process is. So this design process consists of 5 elements, which starts from strategy, then scope, then structure, then skeleton, and then surface. And when we start working with certain project, we are at the first stage, which is strategy. And at this stage, the design will be very abstract and there will be nothing that you can show to the stakeholders. But in this particular phase, the strategy phase, you will be talking with the stakeholders directly and will be asking the questions. So what those questions will be and what is the use of them, we'll discuss right now. So strategy consists of these 4 elements, which is understanding why you are designing, like who gonna be using it. So there will be product goals, there will be user needs, there will be user journeys. So consisting of these all 3, you will be able to form a persona. So I will show you an example of what a persona is. So if you go on Google and type persona, you can see a lot of images or what a persona is. So I have clicked on it and you can see. So this is a persona which is made by a person in Millet Note. So you can see there is an image, there is a bio, there is their preferences, what their pain points, what are their needs, ideal experience, and what their requirements are. So that is what is mapped out in the strategy. Basically, strategy means understanding the business requirement, what they want to do, and matching it with the user persona, the user who gonna be using it. So that is from the strategy. And this step is very important as of initial, because if we are not clear with what the user will be accomplishing in particular application or will be doing, and whether that is goal from the business point, it will be useless, because at the end of the design or at the end of the production, the business needs to make money. The business needs to get some result out of it. That's the reason we need to understand what is the product goal is. So that is being clear in the strategy itself. So this is the first step. So once this step is done, we'll go to the next step, which is scope. So scope is nothing but understanding what need to be designed first and till what point you should be designing it. For example, if we take a e-commerce application, then the product is something which is required by the user and user want to buy it. But how they're gonna buy it? What will be the things that will be showing to them? Whether we'll be making the product itself a dedicated website, we'll be doing some marketing for that. So there are a lot of things that need to be discussed and need to be prioritized. So in a simple way, when you're talking with the stakeholders, you can mention that in the scope, we'll be discussing about what to design, what particular solution does, and then we will map it out as a phase wise, so that we can release it one by one and it will be no backlog in this case. So understanding the scope is important, because without the scope you can't get started with the design. Because even if you skip this step, what will happen is you will be designing something that will be okay as of UI, that will be okay as of wireframe and prototype, but the placement of it will not be in the flow of the product. Then the stakeholder will say, okay, we missed out this particular part, we need to rework upon it and get it done as fast as possible, and that will create a friction, as well as that will create a scenario where you need to work faster and will not be able to focus upon the UX, the user experience. So as a second step, you need to clarify what is the scope is. You need to talk with the stakeholders, get it done, get what they want first, and what is your preference that it should be done first, the website should be designed first before the product page, and so on. Next, the third step is structure. So structure is nothing but gathering all the information. Okay, if we want to make a website of a e-commerce, then how a user should be navigating there, what should be the click, what should be the information architecture, what will be the page structure. So structure is general. You need to have a clear idea of how this particular solution will be working out, like from one place to another place, how the user will be going on. All this stuff, all these 3 things, the structure, scope, and strategy, all these 3 will be a write-up. It will not be design centered. It will be write-up. You need to write it before getting into design. You need to be clear what the idea is all about. So structure will consist of navigation design, which defines how a particular user from website to the cart, to the product cart, how they will be going, what will be the intermediate steps, what will be the pages that they will be encountering with. So you need to understand this structure also as a third step. After these 3 things are clear, then we we will go into the wireframe. Then we will be having two things, which is high fidelity design and low fidelity design. So you start with low fidelity design and then you show it to the internal stakeholders, not the outside stakeholders. So you may ask that what are internal stakeholders and what are outside stakeholders? So internal stakeholders are the people who are above you, the leaders who can give you instant feedback, and that doesn't affect the overall business perspective. So if you're working in a product environment, if you're working with a product startup, then the internal stakeholders will be your team lead. The internal stakeholders will be the person, the product manager who gave you this project. Once this is done, once the wireframe is done, you create a prototype. The prototype could be a video format, which will be recorded one of Figma, or you can just share the Figma prototype with the above stakeholders. So once the top level stakeholders confirm it, we go to the last step, which is fifth one, surface. So this surface is the visual design. So this is where you present your user interface skills, the UI design skills you represent. So all of that, all of the 4 steps which you followed, starting from strategy, scope, structure and skeleton, all these combined comes under the theory and the why you designed this particular thing. All of this combined is result of the visual design. So once the visual design is the top pinnacle of what you're gonna see of a product. If I'm seeing a MacBook, it is the pinnacle of, it is the UI. I'm not gonna see what are the internal components are, but those are the reason the UI itself is coming better. So these are the 5 steps that you need to consider when you're taking up any new project. And once you get to the surface level, once you get the 5th step, then only your design will be concrete, and then it will be given to the developer for the production, and then the business will make money. So this is what a design process is that I recommend every designer around me and the future designers who are learning should include in their process. And if you consider these steps, in these 5 steps, the AI comes in the strategy, scope and structure. As these 3 things are more of write-ups, you can take help of ChatGPT or AI stuff to summarize them. You can take help of AI to make it simpler for stakeholders to understand and give answers to your questions in a faster way. The skeleton and surface are dependent upon your skills, are dependent upon the tool which you're using. For skeleton, you can use Figma, you can use XD, you can use any design software which is out there, which is used by the company. But the structure, scope and strategy, these 3 things are part of design but are not dependent upon on any of the tool or any of the visual centric output. These are write-ups, and here where AI comes into the place. Here the AI will help you summarize all things and help you out. Coming to the AI part, the skeleton and surface, here also AI can help you search for references. But at this point, at this time, April 2024, AI is not as much as good that it can define the structure, scope and strategy and get into the design itself. Yes, AI can create and generate some of the structure of the surface and skeleton which are generally available on the internet. For example, if you are designing a website, then couple of things are fixed. For example, there will be a hero section, then there will be service cards, then in the bottom there will be a footer with some of the links to the website. So some of the design stuff is fixed. Some of the design stuff are already there on the internet, which can be provided by AI. But you need to remember, AI will not be thinking in a manner how human thinks, and ultimately whatever you're designing is going to be used by human. That will not be used by AI. So there will be no profit or no concept of involving AI to design the surface and skeleton. Ultimately, the goal is whatever the application you're making, the users, the people are going to use it. So overall, these 5 elements, starting from strategy, scope, structure, skeleton and surface, are for the human centered. And skeleton, structure and strategy are the UX. The experience part is consist of these 4 steps. And in these 4, strategy, scope and structure can be worked upon using AI as a assistant, but not as a full control. So you need to take the control of the design and ultimately bring up a solution so that business achieves their product goal. And as a designer, you give an impactful design and make a change for the billion people. So that's it for this video. If you learned something from this, let me know in the comment section, and definitely check out some of other design videos on my channel. I will see you in the next one. Till then, have a great day and keep designing. Bye bye.